Ever get that feeling, like when words just fail you?
Yeah, like you're trying to explain something.
Exactly.
And the language, it falls short.
It's like trying to describe a color you've never seen.
Okay, so imagine a whole world, right, where bye-bye hump isn't some weird joke, but it means burial mound.
It's like you need a whole new dictionary just to understand what's going on.
Exactly. Welcome to the world of Russell Hoban's Riddley Walker.
It's one of those books.
Award-winning.
Yeah, award-winning.
Inspired, get this, a Mad Max movie.
It makes you wonder, what is it about this book, this post-apocalyptic story, that captures the imagination like that?
It's not just the setting, though. It really throws you for a loop.
Oh, tell me about it.
Because Hoban, he asks this really unsettling question. What happens to language itself after a catastrophe?
Right, like after everything we know is gone, how do we even begin to rebuild, rebuild understanding?
It's like trying to explain the internet to, like, a caveman.
Ooh, good analogy.
Their minds would be blown.
Totally. Okay, so picture this. England, thousands of years after everything went boom.
Technology. Ancient history.
Yeah. Knowledge it's like pieced together from scraps.
And into this world walks 12-year-old Riddley.
And let me tell you, this kid, he does not speak like any 12-year-old you've ever met.
Think Shakespeare. But way more messed up.
It's like you almost need subtitles just to understand what he's saying.
That's the genius of it, though.
Go on.
Hoban isn't just describing this world. He's pulling you into it, making you hear it, feel it.
And that language, it's more than just a gimmick, right? It's like it gets into your skin.
It's like discovering some ancient scroll covered in strange symbols.
You're trying to decipher it, piece together the meaning.
And the more you dig into Riddley Walker's dialect, the more you realize this isn't just gibberish. It's a whole society grappling with the ghosts of its past.
Speaking of ghosts, can we talk about how they refer to the atom bomb?
Oh, yeah.
The little shiny man, the atom.
Chills.
Every time. It's like childlike awe mixed with pure terror.
Exactly. It's like they have this almost mythical understanding of this force that reshaped their world.
It's like trying to explain the sun to someone who's lived their entire life in a cave.
Yes. They've got these fragments of stories, myths passed down through generations. It makes you think about how we understand history.
Right, how the words we use shape everything.
And that's just scratching the surface of what Hoban does with this language.
So it's like he's not just telling a story, he's creating a whole new way of seeing the world.
He's rebuilding language itself from the ground up.
Wow. Okay, so we've got this amazing language, but what about the story itself? What's young Ridley's deal?
Well, he's not just wandering around, spouting off these curious phrases. Riddley, he stumbles upon this secret society.
Ooh, juicy. What kind of secret society?
One that's trying to rebuild the one thing that caused their devastation.
Wait, are you serious? They're trying to rebuild the little shining man?
The very
Talk about a moral dilemma. It's like finding a loaded gun, and instead of like burying it, you decide to polish it up and see if it still works.
In a world still so scarred by the past, is rediscovering that kind of power, is it progress, or is it just asking for trouble? That's the question that hangs over the whole book.
I mean, it's not just some, abstract debate either. It's like you feel the tension, the danger in every scene.
And it's all through Ridley's eyes, this kid who's just trying to make sense of it all.
Speaking of making sense of things, we've got to talk about the political landscape here. We've got these shadowy figures, Abel Goodparley, Ernie Orfing. It's like religion and power all mixed up in this world.
Think of it like this. If the government and Riddley Walker held a press conference, it wouldn't be, some boring speech.
It'd be a full-on religious experience.
They're masters of what they call plomacy, basically diplomacy, but often achieved through manipulation, even fear.
So where does Riddley fit into all of this? He's just a kid, right?
That's what's so brilliant. It's through his eyes, his curiosity, his need to understand, that he uncovers their plans to rebuild the little shining man.
Hold on. Not only are they trying to rebuild this ultimate weapon, but a 12-year-old kid is the one who stumbles upon it.
That's Riddley Walker for you.
That's not just a coming-of-age story. It's like a coming-of-age story on steroids.
And it's not about him, becoming some kind of hero, single-handedly saving the day. It's about those really big questions.
The ones that, keep you up at night.
Like, what is our place in the world? What is the legacy of the past? And what about the future?
It's like that saying, with great power comes
great responsibility.
Yeah.
And the responsibility to understand. That's the core of Ridley Walker. It's not just about surviving the apocalypse. It's about learning from it. And maybe, just maybe, preventing it from happening again. But that's a conversation for later.
So we've got this whole society on the brink.
Teetering on the edge of repeating history.
Exactly. And what I find so fascinating is how Hoban uses these connections or
These fragments of stories, myths, almost
like whispers from the past.
Exactly. And that's how knowledge is passed down.
Because books, they're long gone.
So it's like their version of oral history, but warped.
Like a game of telephone.
Yes. Played for centuries.
So imagine trying to understand, like, I don't know, the American Revolution. But all you have are, like, campfire stories and rumors your grandpa told you.
Distorted, exaggerated.
And that's Ridley's reality.
It makes you question what's real, what's legend.
Totally. And speaking of legends, we can't forget about Yusa.
Ah, yes, Yusa.
He's not your typical post-apocalyptic character.
No, not at all.
Puppet shows. In a world where people are just trying to survive.
That's where it gets really interesting.
Tell me more.
You see, in a world stripped bare, like theirs,
Yeah.
the simplest things, like entertainment,
Yeah.
they take on a whole new meaning.
They're not just entertainment anymore.
They become vital.
Wow. So Yusa, he's like what? A symbol of hope.
He's their connection to something larger.
Okay.
A way to grapple with the big stuff.
Life, death, all that.
Exactly. And it's fascinating how Hoban blends the ancient
Go on.
with the utterly alien.
Yusa, he's a direct echo of St. Eustace,
The Roman general.
who had this vision, right, of Christ on a crucifix between the antlers of a stag.
There's layers upon layers in this book.
Like, mind-blowing.
And that's what makes Ridley Walker so compelling. It's not just about, surviving the wasteland. It's about the stories we tell ourselves.
The ones that bind us together.
The ones that help us make sense of the chaos.
Even when it seems like there's no sense to be made.
It's like those shattered pieces of a mirror, each reflecting a piece of the past.
Distorted, maybe, but still there.
And Ridley's journey.
Yes.
It's our journey, too.
We're piecing together those fragments right alongside him.
Seeing ourselves, our anxieties reflected back at us.
And let's not forget, all of this
All of it.
is happening in this incredible, this mind-bending language that Hoban created.
It's like you took English, put it through a time machine, added some, alien slang, and somehow it works. It's phenomenal.
It's like he's making us work for it.
He's making us relearn how to read, how to think.
To see the world in a whole new light.
Because that's what great art does, isn't it?
Challenges us.
Pushes us outside our comfort zones.
It makes us ask those tough questions.
And that brings us to the core of Ridley Walker. Can we learn from the past? Even when it's almost unrecognizable.
Or are we, like, doomed to repeat those same mistakes?
It's a question we're still wrestling with today.
And Hoban doesn't give us any easy answers.
He presents us with this world.
This broken, beautiful world.
And asks, what would you do?
It's funny. You'd think a book like this, with its own language and all these big ideas, you wouldn't think it would translate to the stage, but
It's amazing, isn't it?
it totally has.
Ridley Walker has been performed.
I mean, theaters like the Royal Exchange,
The Chocolate Bayou Theater.
bringing this fictional world to life.
With real people. Imagine that.
It makes you wonder, how do they pull it off?
The language alone.
Those connections, those stories.
Suddenly they're not just words on a page.
It's like stepping right into Ridley's head.
You're not just reading the story, you're experiencing it.
Wow. What do you think Hoban would have thought about all this?
Himself, he was fascinated by storytelling.
Right, the puppet shows, the campfire tales.
Yeah, like early forms of theater, right?
Totally. A way to pass down those connections.
And here we are centuries later,
Still doing the same thing.
just with, better lighting.
It all comes back to that need to share stories, doesn't it?
Could connect.
To find some kind of meaning in all the chaos.
Even when faced with the worst possibilities.
Yeah, we still search for that glimmer of hope.
In Ridley Walker, it does offer that glimmer.
It makes you think, makes you question.
But it also reminds you of the power of resilience.
That even in a world scarred by its past,
There's still beauty to be found.
and that human spirit, that need to connect, create, it endures.
It gives you hope, doesn't it? That maybe, just maybe, we can learn from our mistakes.
That we can break the cycle.
That bye-bye hump can stay confined to the pages of a book.
So if you're looking for a story that will stay with you long after you finished it, that will challenge you, move you.
And maybe even change the way you see the world.
Riddley Walker is waiting.
It's a deep dive you won't soon forget.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking those tough questions, and remember
The power of a good story.
and the importance of keeping those connections strong.